While most of us feel adequately protected behind locked doors and perhaps with a baseball bat or even a gun hidden in an easy-to-reach place, there are some people who require a whole different level of security. Thanks to their fame, wealth, or notoriety, there are many people who feel that their lives are at risk from obsessive fans or enemies and have to go to extreme lengths to keep themselves safe. Get ready to enter a world of private security details, armored vehicles, and constant surveillance that can cost many millions of dollars per year to sustain, as we take a look at the 15 most protected people in the world. Number 15. Queen Elizabeth II. Britain's Queen Elizabeth was coronated in 1952, and since then has become the most photographed and arguably one of the most famous people in the world. While she has no role in running government, her experience and expertise are second to none on the world stage, and she's one of the most influential people on the planet. This, however, has made her a target to some, so she's surrounded by a meticulous security operation. Overseen by the Royalty and Diplomatic Protection Group, which is an elite police division based at Scotland Yard, she has round-the-clock protection. There are believed to be as many as 185 officers, each of which have been trained by an elite branch of the military, and includes uniformed guards, personal bodyguards, and undercover agents. They look after the Queen and the rest of the royal family when they are both home and abroad, and also take on responsibilities for visiting dignitaries. The full cost of this is classified, but is thought to run into 9 digits, but has proven to be worth it. There have been several attempts on members of the royal family over the years, and fortunately, all have been thwarted before anything serious happened. Before we go on, we have a cool challenge for y'all that will take 5 seconds to complete. Let's make a deal. Just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 10 years of amazing luck and fortune. Try it. It actually works. Number 14. Vladimir Putin. As the president of Russia, and with a past that saw him being involved with the darkest secrets of the country, it's no surprise that Vladimir Putin is surrounded by security wherever he goes. Even though, if there was any world leader capable of looking after themselves, then it would probably be him. Russia has a number of secret entities, but the most elite one that's responsible for his protection is called the Federal Protection Service, or the FSO. Also known as Putin's people, because they not only keep him safe, but are his most trusted personnel that carry out his bidding. There's no publicly released data to be sure quite how much it costs, or even how many officers there are. In theory, they oversee all members of Russia's political elite, but in recent years, there have been claims that they only really care about the president, and are used to make sure everyone else behaves in the way in which he expects. If they truly do double as spies towards his political enemies, as well as protect him from his actual enemies, it means that the head of the FSO, Dmitry Kochnev, really is one of the most powerful unelected people in Russia, and probably even the world. Number 13. Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump entered the White House as America's 45th president in 2017. With precisely the swagger and behavior that you'd expect from a billionaire former reality TV star. And with this controversial approach came a massive increase in the amount of security that was needed. The previous president, Barack Obama, apparently had a yearly protection cost of around $16 million, but within 10 weeks of being in office, Trump's annual cost had rocketed to a staggering $29 million, and in 2017, Congress passed a bill authorizing a yearly figure of $120 million to protect the president and his family. The bulk of this goes to the Secret Service, which has more than 6,500 employees, including 3,200 special agents and 1,300 uniformed officers. For transport, there's a fleet of customized Cadillac limousines that include the Beast, a bulletproof and bomb-proof vehicle that is even followed by a medical car that holds bags of the president's blood, just in case the worst happens. With a virtual ring of steel around him wherever he goes, Donald Trump is undoubtedly one of the most securely protected people on the planet. Number 12. Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un is the despotic leader of North Korea and is arguably one of the most targeted people in the world. Between the cruel treatment and subjugation of his own people and his constant threats against other nations, particularly those that are nearby, there's no lack of people who would rather see him dead. It's easier said than done, however, because he has surrounded himself with one of the most comprehensive security details you'll find anywhere. At its core is the Supreme Guard Command, which is a personal private army of more than 100,000 members that reports directly to him. It's this organization that carries out his wishes, which include arresting opponents and executing those deemed to have acted against the state, and is also an effective propaganda tool by supporting the claim that Kim Jong-un is untouchable. This army is well looked after in comparison to other citizens of North Korea and show unwavering loyalty to their leader. It's because of it that Jong-un and his predecessors have managed to hold on to power for so long, and there's virtually no way to topple his regime without also taking on his force. Number 11. Pope Francis. It's certainly a shame that the leader of the Christian church has a need for security, but after several attempts made against those before him, Pope Francis lives in a carefully controlled bubble. Of course, there's the famous bulletproof Pope-mobile that every pope in the past few decades has traveled in, but the level of security goes way beyond this. First, there's the famed Swiss Guard, who have been the personal protectors of the pontiff for 500 years. Wearing colorful uniforms, you'll see them stationed around the Vatican. But there's also a 13-member police force who follow the Pope wherever he goes, and an unknown number of plain-clothed personnel who blend in with the crowds and can react to anything that may happen. Furthermore, anytime the Pope visits another country, the local security services provide their own intel, and officers too. And there are suggestions that the papal protection methods also include the use of body doubles, decoy vehicles, and last-minute changes to travel plans to ensure that even if someone was to launch an attack, their chances of success are remote. Number 10. Vladimir Lenin. Vladimir Lenin was the head of the Soviet government between 1917 and 1924, during which time he turned the country into a one-party communist state that followed his version of Marxism that was imaginatively titled Leninism. He died in 1924 following complications after suffering a third stroke, but he was so revered that his body was embalmed and put on display. To this day, you can see him in the mausoleum of Moscow's Red Square, but beyond his political beliefs, his legacy also includes the introduction of one of the 20th century's first private armies. Known as the Cheka, not only were they responsible for ensuring the leader was protected at all times, something they did by stationing at least 20 officers around him and closely monitoring anyone that regularly came into contact with him, but they also carried out his orders to keep citizens compliant and to protect him from any political uprisings. This included arresting those who spoke out against the leadership and executing at least 30,000 people between 1918 and 1920 alone. Torture was also commonplace in their operation, but despite the atrocities that were carried out in Lenin's name, he remains one of Russia's most well-regarded leaders, and subsequent secret armies were formed with the Cheka as their base, including the FSB that operates today. Number 9. Mark Zuckerberg. He's known as the inventor and figurehead of the world's most popular social network, Facebook.
In addition to software, you know we're all building hardware.
And is also involved with countless innovative projects and philanthropic pursuits. But this high-profile activity has led to Mark Zuckerberg requiring a significant security bill. According to filings made by Facebook in 2018, he was paid an additional $13 million to cover his protection and travel, which included $10 million to cover security guards, unspecified protective equipment, various security services, and substantial upgrades to his home. According to a statement in the report, Facebook said that as its CEO, Zuckerberg is synonymous with the company, and any negative sentiment felt towards the platform was often directly associated with him. While he's only actually paid $1 per year for performing his duties at Facebook, he now receives upwards of $22.6 million thanks to top-ups solely for his security. You could argue this is evidence that Facebook should try to stop annoying so many people, but this represents such a small fraction of their overall revenue that they probably see it as a worthwhile cost. Number 8. Bill Gates. For a long time, Bill Gates was the wealthiest person in the world. After founding Microsoft. And while he's now lost that crown to another technology entrepreneur, he and his wife remain the most generous philanthropists who have donated billions of dollars to worthwhile causes. Due to his enormous wealth and high profile, Gates is subjected to countless threats on a daily basis, so it's fortunate he can afford state-of-the-art systems to keep himself and his family safe. During one incident in public in 1999, someone threw a pie at him, and since then, his security operation has escalated. His $150 million home in Seattle, Washington is said to have the most advanced at-home security measures in the world, including countless cameras, heat detectors, motion detectors, computer-assisted monitoring, and even a secret intelligence unit that scours social media and other online activity to detect any possible threats that might be emerging. Whenever he travels away from home, he's escorted by a security detail that in some cases can involve more than 100 people. Now all we need is for his company to build their software with as much security in mind. Number 7. El Chapo. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was the leader of the Sinaloa cartel, one of the largest international drug operations in the world that was based out of Mexico. With a large number of public officials on the payroll and countless armed soldiers who worked for him, his compound was virtually impenetrable. He became one of the most wanted men in the world, and despite being captured, also became known for his ability to escape prison. By the time of his third arrest, authorities had had enough and needed to take steps to ensure he would never again be free. He's now kept in an isolated cell at a super maximum security prison, and is watched every moment of the day. To prevent prison guards from being bribed to help him, at least 2 are on duty at any time, and he's watched on video even when he's in the shower or the bathroom. His high-profile escapes mean that he's now the most contained prisoner in the world. And if the funds that are required to do this remain available, it'll be how he spends the rest of his life. Number 6. Justin Bieber. Since bursting onto the music scene with his first album in 2009, at the age of just 15, Justin Bieber has gone on to gain legions of fans across the world. Growing up in the public eye is tough for everyone, and for Bieber, it was no different. His behavior came under scrutiny, and it seems as if he found as many enemies in the world as he did allies. So it's perhaps no surprise he's been forced to spend vast proportions of his wealth on providing security for himself. His home is monitored 24/7 by private guards, and he's also apparently got a tracker on his person at all times, so his team knows his precise location. Further to this, he doesn't go anywhere in public without a beefed-up security team nearby. But surprisingly, this isn't made up of people who will do whatever he wants. They're often seen arguing with him when his behavior gets out of control. And a few years ago, they definitely weren't taking his side when he was seen punching a fan on his way to a concert in Barcelona. Number 5. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. Thanks to a conveniently released online video and starring in the biggest reality show ever,
Get the fuck out of the way!
Kim Kardashian is a mega celebrity around the world and draws attention wherever she goes, as part of a power couple with Kanye West, who himself is a high-profile musician and, if he gets his way, the next president of the US. They both have a serious requirement for security. They were robbed while in Paris in 2017, and this has led to a massive increase in their plans, which include round-the-clock guards who are stationed in the couple's garage at home, constant monitoring, geolocation devices, and panic alarms around their house. When they go out, they're always accompanied by their trusted bodyguards, and even when she's on set filming for the show, she has professionals hidden behind the camera. It's been estimated that between them, they spend at least $20 million per year on security, but the bill is likely far more than that. This also includes the cost of cyber detectives to ensure all their digital properties are fully secured too, making them some of the most secure celebrities anywhere on Earth. Number 4. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. As far as Hollywood mega couples go, there are none as high profile as Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt were. When they were together, they had the normal provisions such as 24/7 security guards at their home, panic buttons, and motion sensors, but they also apparently spent huge sums performing background checks on anyone they had business dealings with, or who would be performing works on their home. In the wake of the cyber attack on Sony Pictures, the couple realized how dangerous the online world was, and so invested millions of dollars into protecting themselves from being hacked, and, in particular, special effort was made to protect the privacy of their children. Specialists were enlisted to help prevent photographs from being taken of them, and those that made it online were quickly taken down thanks to an army of lawyers they had at their disposal. In a world where so much of our lives are conducted online and where there have been countless attacks, it makes total sense that this is the new battleground when it comes to protection and security. Number 3. Howard Schultz. During his career, Howard Schultz was the CEO of Starbucks for 23 years.
To me, they don't say that.
And was instrumental in turning it into a successful worldwide brand and developing the company's philanthropic endeavors. As is common for wealthy CEOs, he took a surprisingly low salary during his tenure, and when he stepped down in 2018, his salary was reduced to just $1. There were, however, considerable expenses that were paid to him for his personal security for when he attends events and functions on behalf of the company. In 2018, this entitlement was raised by 60% to around $325,000 to provide personal bodyguards, secure transport, and upgrades to his home. It's amazing to think this is necessary for someone who ran a coffee company. But having overseen Starbucks' rise to achieve annual revenues of more than $25 billion and with an estimated personal wealth of $4.1 billion, which made him the 145th richest person in the US, he became a target for some who wanted to make a name for themselves, or who begrudged him for some of the business decisions he had to make during his time in charge. Number 2. Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison was a co-founder of the technology company Oracle. And with a personal fortune of around $69 billion, he's currently the 6th richest person in the world. He was the former CEO of the company and current CTO, and this role requires him to travel around the world to oversee operations and to speak publicly on behalf of Oracle. There are those who see his success as a reason to target him, however, and his security costs are covered by Oracle and from his own funds. The company pays almost $2 million per year towards bodyguards, secure accommodations, private jets, and 24/7 monitoring, while it's thought he also tops up this figure with countless millions of his own. He has homes across the world, and even his own private island, which have all undergone significant security upgrades, so he and his security team are aware of anyone who sets foot on his property. A keen motor enthusiast, he loves to drive his cars on public roads, but is followed closely behind by operatives to ensure that he doesn't find himself in tricky situations. Number 1. Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Jay-Z and Beyoncé are the world's most recognizable musical couple, and between them have amassed a fortune in excess of $1.5 billion. They've sold more than 100 million albums, have regularly featured in the Billboard charts, and Beyoncé's also a film star in her own right. So with such a high profile, they've seen their share of threats and concerns about their safety. During a performance in Brazil, a fan was able to get up onto the stage and grab hold of Beyoncé. And this was a wake-up call to her team. Spending on security was substantially increased to at least $4 million per year, and includes round-the-clock guards, personal bodyguards when in public, a fleet of armored vehicles, and even scanning of everyone that makes it backstage at any of their events. Their protection even includes scouting areas around where they're on vacation to ensure there are no photographers hiding nearby, and strict NDAs that have to be signed by any staff to prevent them from leaking any secrets about the couple. It is, of course, money well spent and has ensured that Beyoncé and Jay-Z and their children have remained safe. Who of these do you think needs their security provisions the most? And what measures do you take to protect yourself and those you care about? Make sure to let us know in the comments section. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time.